Sobrang mainit at sobrang maulang panahon magiging normal na sa bansa ayon sa Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration o PAGASA.
Ito na yung nagiging climate normal natin. So ibig sabihin, mas hotter and then mas wetter or mas colder and then mas drier. So nag-shift na yung climate natin.
Manila Water sinampahan ng reklamo sa Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System o MWSS. Mga customer na apektado ng water shortage, hiniling na wag silang singilin sa nakonsumong tubig.
Akala namin hanggang 4 araw lang, inabot po kami ng 1 linggo. Yung tatay ko nga hindi ko nga naidala sa hospital dahil dapat may siya, therapy lagi siya ng 3 beses sa 1 linggo. Ang nangyari, hindi ko nadadala dito sa may polymedic, pati ang polymedic wala rin ng tubig.
Presyo ng imported na bigas posibleng bumaba ng hanggang 30 pesos kada kilo kapag naipatupad na ang rice tariffication law ayon sa DTI.
Many groups hopefully will participate and import. They will bring in mga 30 pesos at maibenta nila sa 30 pesos.
Malacanang nanindigang mababayaran ang utang ng Pilipinas sa China. Posibilidad na samsamin ng China ang likas na yaman ng bansa, hindi dapat ikabahala.
If we show the Chinese government that we are on time, regularly paying, if you are the borrower or the lender rather, you will know na magaling tong borrower na ito, hindi ka na kailangan mag-impose ng mga onerous conditions against them.
Pagresolba sa magiging sigalot sa $62 million Chico River deal, hahawakan ng Arbitral Commission ng China.
Bagong musical listening experience na handog ng Wish 1075 YouTube channel. Alamin.
Mabuti nang mag-isa nang makilala ko puta ang sarili. Pag-ibig muna para sa akin.
Una sa ating mga balita. Naghain ng formal na reklamo sa Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System ang grupong bayan muna laban sa Manila Water upang papanagutin ang kumpanya sa perwisyong inabot ng mga customer ito dahil sa ilang linggong water service interruptions. Ito ang balita ni Joanne Nano.
Nais ng grupong bayan muna na managot at pagbayarin ng danyos ang Manila Water sa kanilang mga customer matapos ang ilang linggong water service interruptions. Sa 21 pahinang petisyon na inihain ng grupo sa Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System kanina, hiniling ng mga ito na wag nang pagbayarin sa tubig ngayong buwan ang naperwisyong mga customer ng Manila Water. Iginiit rin nila na dapat ay makatanggap ng dagdag kompensasyon ang mga naapektuhang residente dahil sa pagod at laki ng ginastos ng mga ito magkatubig lamang.
Yung gastos nila sa nakaraang mga linggo para lang makabili ng drum, mga timba, makabili ng bottled water ay napakalaki kumpara doon sa kanilang average monthly bills.
Gusto rin ng grupo na magsagawa ng public hearing ang MWSS at Manila Water upang marinig ang hinaing at pasakit na dinanas ng mga consumer. Bukod sa bayan muna, personal ring nagreklamo kanina sa MWSS si Mang Jose na residente ng Mandaluyong City.
Akala namin hanggang 4 araw lang, inabot po kami ng 1 linggo. Yung tatay ko nga hindi ko nga naidala sa hospital dahil dapat may siya, therapy lagi siya ng 3 beses sa 1 linggo. Ang nangyari, hindi ko nadadala dito sa may polymedic, pati ang polymedic wala rin ng tubig.
Ayon naman kay MWSS Chief Regulator Patrick T, pag-aaralan nila ang mga batayan ng inihaing petisyon. Nagpulong na ang MWSS at mga opisyal ng Manila Water upang alamin kung may ayuda silang maaaring ibigay sa mga naapektuhang customer at ipakiusap kung posibleng mapagbigyan ng hiling ng mga ito na wala na munang singilan ngayong Marso. Pinag-usapan din ang posibilidad ng refund sa mga customer pero kinakailangan pa nila itong dumaan sa masusing proseso.
Kasi di pa natin sigurado, ayaw kong sabihin na guilty sila. Baka sabihin naman ng Manila Water na prejudge na sila. Hindi ko po sila piniprejudge, so klaro lang, hindi ko po sasabihin na kailangan po sila mag-rebate. Pinag-aaralan lang po natin yan.
Nag-issue na ang MWSS ng notice to explain at pinagpapaliwanag ang Manila Water kung bakit hindi sila dapat pagmultahin sa nangyaring aberya batay sa mga nakapaloob sa concession agreement. May 5 araw ang Manila Water upang magsumite ng kanilang tugon dito. Target ng MWSS na madesisyonan sa Hunyo kung pagmumultahin ba o hindi ang Manila Water. Hindi pa nagbibigay ng pahayag ang Manila Water ukol sa posibilidad ng penalty at refund. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Ilan sa mga senador ang nagpahayag ng interes na mabusisi ang kalidad ng istraktura ng ilang mga proyektong pinondohan ng China sa ilalim ng Build program ng administrasyon. Ayon sa Ibon Foundation, bukod sa issue sa loan agreement, dapat ding tignan ang construction quality ng mga Chinese firm na kinontrata ng pamahalaan. Ito ang balita ni Nel Maribuhok.
Tuloy ang pagkwestiyon ng ilang grupo sa pinasok na kontrata ng pamahalaan sa China para sa infrastructure projects nito. Kabilang na dito ang Kaliwa Dam at Chico River Pump Irrigation Projects na pinondohan ng China. Isa sa mga usapin na lumutang ngayon ay ang kalidad naman ng mga istruktura na itatayo ng mga contractor na galing sa China. Ayon sa Ibon Foundation, dapat tignan itong mabuti ng pamahalaan.
May mahabang record actually ng problema sa mga Chinese loans. May problema dun sa quality ng construction, may problema dun sa terms sa mga kasunduan.
Lumabas sa mga balita na ang Ecuador Dam ay nakararanas ngayon ng problema kung saan may mga nakikita na umanong cracks sa istruktura nito. May naging issue rin umano dito na debt trap ng China mula sa hindi mabayarang inutang na $1.7 billion para sa dam. Ayon kay Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, maaari naman tignan ang isyung ito ng Senado. Mahigpit niya ang Pilipinas pagdating sa building code, kaya sa tingin niya ay malabong matulad ng Pilipinas sa nangyari sa Ecuador. Noong nakaraang linggo sa pagdinig sa Senado, ipinaliwanag ng Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System na dumaan sa pag-aaral ang mga proyektong ito bago maaprubahan ng National Economic and Development Authority Board.
From the recommendation of the technical working group, as this was studied, the recommendation is still Kaliwa Dam, not Japanese.
Sa ngayon ay hinihintay pa ng MWSS na makumpleto ang engineering design ng China-funded Kaliwa Dam project bago simulan ang implementasyon nito. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Bigo pa ring magkasundo ang contingent ng Senado at Kamara sa kanilang pagpupulong ngayong araw kaugnay ng pagpapasa ng 2019 proposed budget. Niresolba pa rin ng dalawang kapulungan ng Kongreso ang mga usapin ng lump sum appropriations at umano'y realignment ng budget dahilan kaya hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa ito maibigay kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte upang mapirmahan. Ayon sa mga mambabatas sa dumalo sa dialogue, bukas naman ang lahat para talakayin at resolbahin ang mga issue.
The dialogue is continuing, it's in progress because both sides are open. There is a common bilateral agenda.
May punto sila, may punto rin naman kami. At bottom line, we wanted a new budget.
Inaasahan naman ni Senator Panfilo Lacson na sa gagawin nilang pagpupulong bukas ng gabi ay maisasapinal na nila ang proposed budget. Magsasagawa ng realignment sa kanilang tropa ang Philippine National Police sa mga lugar na nasa ilalim ng COMELEC control. Ito ang balita ni Lea Ilagan.
Magdadagdag ng tauhan ng Philippine National Police sa mga lugar na isinailalim sa COMELEC control habang papalapit ang halalan. Kabilang dito ang buong Mindanao, Jones Isabela, Lope de Vega sa Northern Samar, Daraga sa Albay at buong probinsya ng Abra. Ayon kay PNP Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde, nasa 941 na ang election hotspot sa buong bansa kung saan 570 na lugar ang nasa ilalim ng red category o grave concern. 331 na bayan at syudad ang nasa yellow category o areas of concern. 238 ang immediate concern o orange category. Ayon kay PNP Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde, magsasagawa sila ng realignment of troops.
Mga naka-assign dito sa national headquarters, we deploy them to the different critical areas. And we basically create a special operations task group headed by a senior officer, at least yung Police Brigadier General.
Paglilinaw pa ni Albayalde, hindi naman lahat ng lugar na inilagay sa red category at isinailalim sa COMELEC control ay magulo. Ito'y dahil kasama din sa pinagbasehan ang sitwasyon sa lugar noong mga nakaraang halalan.
This is probably just to ensure that deployment of personnel there are enough. No, not necessarily kasi na nasa red area yan or areas of grave concern ay ibig sabihin magulo yung lugar na yon.
Wala naman sa listahan ng grave areas of concern ang National Capital Region at Ilocos Region. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Campo Crame.
Tatlong pangalan na ang lumulutang na posibleng maging House Speaker sa 18th Congress na inendorso mismo ni Pangulong Duterte at ng anak nitong si Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. Ito ang balita ni Grace Casin.
March 20, nag-iendorso ni Davao City Mayor at hugpong ng pagbabago Party Chairperson Sara Duterte Carpio bilang susunod na House Speaker si Martin Romualdez na ngayon ay muling kumakandidatong kongresista sa Leyte. Si Romualdez ay nagsilbi ng kinatawan ang unang distrito ng Leyte ng 3 termino o katumbas ng 9 na taon at kilalang malapit na kaalyado ni House Speaker Gloria Arroyo. Tumakbo siya bilang senador noong 2016 elections pero hindi pinalad na manalo. Siya ang kasalukuyang presidente ng Lakas Christian Muslim Democrats o Lakas CMD at Philippine Constitution Association at pamangkin ni dating First Lady at ngayon Ilocos Norte Representative Imelda Marcos. Pero kinabukasan, March 21, inendorso rin ni Duterte Carpio bilang susunod na House Speaker si incumbent Marinduque Representative Lord Alan J. Velasco. Madalas kasama ngayon ang hugpong ng pagbabago si Velasco na anak ni dating Supreme Court Associate Justice Presbitero Velasco Jr. Sa isang interview sa Cebu noong Biyernes, ito ang paliwanag ni Inday Sara.
Well, lahat ng mga congressmen na supportive sa administration ni President Duterte and who expressed interest in becoming speaker, I support them. Yes. So, walay choice of one, but ang ginatanaw namo is kung kinsa ang supporter ni President Duterte because we need the House of Representatives to move towards the direction of the President.
Bago pa man lumutang ang pangalan ni Romualdez at Velasco, sinabi na ni dating Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano noong nakarang taon na gusto ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na siya ang maging House Speaker. Si Cayetano ay tumakbong vice-presidente ni Pangulong Duterte noong 2016 presidential elections, subalit hindi ito nanalo. Kaya makalipas ang isang taon ay itinalaga siya bilang kalihim ng Department of Foreign Affairs at ngayon ay tumatakbong kongresista sa Lone District ng Taguig at Pateros. Sa dami ng mga pangalang naglalabasan sa susunod na leader ng Kamara, lumutang din ang issue ng term sharing. Kanina, sinabi ni Mayor Sara na wala na sa kanya ang pagdedesisyon ukol dito.
Dapat na mag-decide yan yung mga congressman.
Matatandaang si Sara Duterte ang sinasabing nasa likod ng pagpapatalsik kay Pantalon Alvarez bilang House Speaker noong July 2018 na pinalitan ni Gloria Arroyo. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Iniulat ng Department of Education na wala pang umaatras na mga gurong magsisilbi sa halalan sa Mindanao, bagaman ideklara na ang buong rehiyon bilang election hotspot. Ito ang balita ni Aiko Miguel.
Mahigit 200,000 mga guro ang kakailanganin ng Commission on Elections na umasiste sa darating na halalan sa May 13. Ayon kay Undersecretary Nepomuceno Malaluan ng Department of Education, wala pa naman silang natatanggap na ulat na may gurong aatras sa pagsisilbi sa halalan sa Mindanao. Matatanda ang isinailalim na sa COMELEC control ang buong Mindanao dahil sa banta ng mga armado at teroristang grupo.
I guess the local situation will still be important because even in non-hotspot areas, it's the usual. But you can also be sure that the teachers have been there and done that in the longest time that we've been involved as a support institution for the conduct of the elections.
Paliwanag pa ng DepEd, may karapatan din namang umatras ang mga guro kapag nasa panganib o kritikal na ang kalagayan ng mga lugar. Sa ganitong sitwasyon, mga pulis at sundalo ang papalit bilang miyembro ng Electoral Board. Sa ilalim ng Republic Act 10756 o Election Service Reform Act o ESRA, voluntaryo ang pagsisilbi ng mga guro sa mga halalan. Bukod sa Mindanao, nasa ilalim na rin ng COMELEC control ang Daraga Albay, Jones Isabela, Lope de Vega, Northern Samar at ang buong probinsya ng Abra.
I think to the extent that the COMELEC has not approached us to talk about a crisis situation, then we feel that it's still in order because
Umaasa rin ang DepEd na papaboran pa rin ng Kongreso ang pagpasa ng panukalang pondo para sa honoraria ng mga gurong voluntaryong magsisilbi sa May 13 midterm elections. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Muling gabiyahe si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte patungong China at Japan ngayong taon. Pang-apat na beses nang magtutungo ang punong ehekutibo sa China ngayong Abril para talakayin ang China-Philippines Cooperation kaugnay ng Second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. Naiulat naman na magtutungo rin sa Japan ang punong ehekutibo sa Mayo upang dumalo naman sa isang regional conference. Pangatlong trip na ito ni Pangulong Duterte sa Japan. Klima naman ang dahilan kaya hindi pa rin nakakapunta sa Estados Unidos ang presidente sa kabila ng imbitasyon sa kanya na dumalaw din doon.
I think the relationship between the U.S. and China remains cordial and healthy. So with America, the only reason perhaps why the president has not considered visiting is because of the temperature. He couldn't stand very cold temperature. He gets sick.
And for the news abroad, a pro-military political party in Thailand has taken an unexpected lead in the country's first election since the army took power 5 years ago. Charis Longbowen reports.
Partial results from the election in Thailand on Sunday, March 24, showed a pro-military party slightly ahead of the populist party leading a democratic front. An unexpected and for many stunning outcome from the country's first poll since the 2014 army coup. With 93% of overall votes counted, the Election Commission reported the pro-military party Palang Pracharat, which is seeking to keep Junta Chief Prayut Chan-o-cha in power, was leading with 7.59 million votes. Former Prime Minister Abhisit Vejjajiva stepped down as leader of the Democrat Party, which many had thought could hold the balance of power between pro-military and Democratic Front factions. Trailing with 7.12 million votes was Pheu-thai, a party linked to exiled former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, whose loyalists have won every election since 2001. The numbers were for the popular vote, but this did not reflect parliamentary constituency seats that would ultimately be won. Pheu-thai could still win the lion's share of this because of its concentrated popularity in the north and northeast of the country. Nevertheless, there was dismay among many voters who had hoped that the poll would loosen the grip on power the traditional elites and the military have held in a country that has one of the highest measures of inequality in the world. Charis Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Bangkok, Thailand.
President Trump's campaign did not conspire with Russia during the 2016 election. That's according to a summary of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report submitted to Congress on Sunday. Clarence Shaughnessy has the story.
U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller found no evidence of collusion between President Donald Trump's election team and Russia in the 2016 election, Attorney General William Barr said on Sunday. In a major political victory for Trump, Mueller, who spent nearly 2 years investigating allegations that Russia meddled in the election to help Trump defeat his Democratic opponent Hillary Clinton, did not find evidence that Trump's campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government, according to a summary of Mueller's findings. While Mueller left open the possibility that Trump had obstructed justice in his response to the Russia probe, U.S. Attorney General William Barr concluded that the evidence was not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense, the summary said. Mueller said he would leave it to the Attorney General to decide whether a crime was committed. Barr's summary said Mueller found no evidence that the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia, despite multiple offers from individuals associated with Russia. Trump was in Mar-a-Lago when the news broke. Before boarding the Air Force One to Washington, he spoke to reporters, saying it was a complete and total exoneration. Trump has always denied collaborating with Moscow or obstructing justice. Russia says it did not interfere in the election, although U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that it did. Clarence Shaughnessy, UNTV News and Rescue, New York, USA.
Rescuers in China have found a survivor 2 days after a massive blast at a chemical plant, one of the deadliest industrial accidents in recent years. Stephanie C. has the story.
Authorities on Saturday morning confirmed that the death toll from the factory explosion in East China's Jiangsu province on Thursday has risen to 64 by 7 a.m. according to the second press conference on the accident. The deadly blast occurred at around 2:48 p.m. following a fire in a fertilizer factory at a chemical industrial park in Xiangshui County of Yancheng City.
By 7 this morning, the accident has caused 64 deaths. 26 have already been identified, while the identities of the other 38 fatalities have yet to be confirmed. Of the patients that are being treated, 21 are in critical condition and 73 sustain serious injuries. 28 people are reported missing.
4 rounds of blanket search for the missing have been held. One survivor has been successfully rescued at around 7 a.m. Saturday morning after burying in the ruins for 40 hours. The 40-year-old male survivor has been sent to hospital with no life-threatening injuries. The local public security department is communicating with all parties and comparing DNA to confirm the identities of the victims. Meanwhile, rescue teams in protective gear continue to search for victims at the toxic scene of a deadly chemical plant blast in eastern China on Sunday. In nearby Wangshan village, part of which lies just several hundred meters from the industrial park, windows were smashed and house structures damaged by the blast. On Sunday, some residents were seen assessing the damage to their homes or clearing up. Others, including 65-year-old He Chiulan, are still trying to recover from the trauma.
Of course, I was scared. I was scared to death. Then I started crying as I hid next to the bed. I could not come out. I felt I might be dead. Later that evening, my grandchildren came in, cleared away everything that had fallen on top of me, and dragged me out. I can't stop crying, and I cried for 3 days, and not a single person has come to me to ask about my situation.
The cause of the explosion was under investigation, but an editorial in the China Daily newspaper said it was likely to be identified as a serious accident caused by human negligence. The company Jiayi Chemical Co., which produces more than 30 organic chemical compounds, some highly flammable, had a history of safety violations and had been punished repeatedly, state news agency Xinhua said. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, a cruise ship that got into trouble off the Norwegian coast has arrived safely at the port of Molde after the dramatic rescue of hundreds of people. Leia Panganiban reports.
A luxury cruise ship that had set sail with almost 1,400 passengers and crew aboard arrived at the port in Norway on Sunday, March 24, after narrowly escaping disaster when its engines failed during a storm. The Viking Sky sent out a Mayday signal on Saturday, March 23, as it drifted in rough waters in the Norwegian Sea to within 100 meters of land. A total of 1,373 people had started the voyage, and about 900 people were still on board as the ship arrived at the port of Molde on Norway's west coast. Rescue services airlifted 479 people, hoisting them one by one onto helicopters before the weather subsided on Sunday and a tow could begin. Many of them were senior citizens. Some 20 injured passengers had been taken to hospital, Viking Cruises said, while others had only minor injuries. The passengers were mainly from the United States and Britain, the rescue services said. There were also Canadians and Australians on board, among others, the cruise company said. Leia Panganiban, UNTV News and Rescue.
Alamin na natin ang latest sa lagay ng panahon mula kay Ray Pelayo na nasa UNTV Weather Center. Ray, kumusta ang temperatura sa maghapon?
Magandang hapon, Monica, at sa ating mga kasambahay. Medyo tumaas pa rin yung ating temperature dito sa Quezon City. Umabot tayo ng 33 degrees Celsius sa may area ng Science Garden. At ayon sa pag-asa, patuloy na umiiral ngayon itong easterlies o yung hangin na nanggagaling sa may silangan na nakaka-apekto dito sa may malaking bahagi ng ating bansa. At base dun sa satellite, kuha ng satellite ng Pag-asa, makikita natin na wala naman tayo nakita masyadong mga pag-uulap. Liban na lamang dito sa may Bicol area and itong area ng Samar at Leyte. Ayon sa Pag-asa, magkakaroon dyan ng mga thunderstorms. Kani-kanina lang ay nakuha ng ating radar na meron tayong mga pag-ulan, partikular dito sa may silangan pa rin ng bahagi ng Isabela at Aurora area at magiging sa ilang bahagi ng Central Visayas at dito sa may area ng Caraga region kasama na ang Northern Mindanao. Pero generally, yung malaking bahagi ng ating bansa ay nakakarans pa rin ng maliwalas na panahon, lalo na sa Metro Manila. Ayon sa Pag-asa sa ngayon ay wala namang bagyo o LPA sa Philippine Area of Responsibility. Monica?
Maraming salamat, Ray Pelayo, live na nag-uulat mula sa UNTV Weather Center.